Oh, come on, man. You can do better than that. Smack your goddamn daddy.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of There's a Lesson Here Somewhere, where we dive into TV shows and films that are published on Tubi. We'll explore the good, the bad, and find all the lessons in between. I'm your host, Manji, and for today's episode, we're going to be diving into the film Ghost Train. Now, if you missed a previous episode, I do think you should check it out. We covered the film Zola and found all the lessons in that one. But let's go ahead and get into Ghost Train. Now, this film is only about an hour and a half, and it is a foreign film in a different language, so you most likely read subtitles. So, this movie starts with a guy walking looks like on the train tracks, and he looks like he just got hit. So it starts off with a banger. And quickly we meet. Okay, so I know the name of the main character is Da Kyung. However, for some reason, Tubi put Kim in the subtitles, so I went with Kim for the first name. Now back to your scheduled programming. Kim, who is the main character of this film, and she has a YouTube channel covering horror stories, and she wanted to inquire about this specific train station because apparently she heard that a lot of weird stuff been going on there. And the man that was working there, he low-key despises influencers, and since Kim was an influencer, he wasn't really feeling her or the fact that influencers profit off of others' pain. But Kim knows what to do to get what she wants, and she came equipped with like this spirit, like this liquor that's very popular in their country, and that was enough to get the guy on board. But the guy, he still has his boundaries, and he agreed to share one story with Kim over a drink of this little silkworm liqueur. He gets his drink ready, and Kim gets ready to record the conversation, and he goes into detail on the first story or rumor about what goes on at this train station. So in his first story, we see a kid sleeping on the train, and when he wakes up, he hears like thumping, and when he looked over to see what that thumping was, it was just a lady hitting her head on the train car, and she just wouldn't stop. And then this guy, he gets off the train, goes to the store and buys some cigarettes, and now we get a sense of this dude's character, and he is not a cool dude at all. He's trying to buy some cigarettes from like the store, and he's like belittling the clerk, I'm sorry, trying to call her stupid because she wasn't sure of which particular cigarettes he was talking about, and he just has a very nasty attitude. But he was also quickly humbled because when it came time to pay, instead of handing the clerk his debit or credit card, he handed him his school card, which shows that he was in a remedial class. So this is a case of projection. So after that little embarrassing moment, the dude gets back on the train, in which the lady is still on there thumping her head very creepily. And now there's another guy on there who notices as well. And this dude is not sticking around to see what is up this lady's sleeve. So he heads to the next cart. So the dude, he goes and follows the guy who moves to the other cart because obviously, he's a little bit wise. And now he's over there and he gets a call from his mother. And so he answers it, but then the call drops. Now, this is where things went left. He has no service, or at least the call with his mom drops, but he's also sent a video. And the video details a woman who committed suicide at that train station. And the woman in the video or the news article looked eerily similar to the lady who is now banging her head on the door car. And now, after he finished looking at this info that he's been sent, the dude who he moved cars with is now banging his head on the window. So now he's freaking out. So now the lights go out. He's using his phone as a flashlight. And once he does that, the dude who was just here banging his head is no longer there. He completely disappears. The lady who was banging her head comes to him and started banging her head on the door nearest that's on his cart basically. And then the head she was banging so hard on the I can't even get this out, but she was banging her head so hard on the door it broke the glass, then her fucking head fell off. And then this headless body started chasing him. Now, this little moment remind me, I can't remember what thriller it was. Oh my goodness, if y'all know, let me know. But it's definitely like a hood classic. I don't think it's Tales from the Crypt, but it was like a horror movie, and it started with literally like a dress chasing someone, and it was headless. There was nobody in it. It was just literally a dress. And that movie used to scare me so much. But this little scene reminded me of that. So after the lady or the headless lady started chasing him, he ends up waking up, in which he's on the train still. Now, once he's awake on this train, he noticed that the guy from this vision or whatever he just experienced is on this train. So I guess he took that as a sign to get his ass up off this train, in which he did. And he kind of just like laughed at himself because like, what the fuck is going on? And he probably thinks he's just tripping. As he's walking on the platform at this station, he noticed that there's an area which is blocked off, which, is connected to that article that he received. So this is the area where that lady committed suicide. So now he knows that that is true. And eventually he starts to see this woman again. And eventually this lady ended up pushing this dude onto the tracks. And everyone or the police ruled it as a suicide because there's no proof of someone pushing him because the lady was a ghost. So now we're back in present time with Kim and the dude who's working at the train station. He gave her a story. So now he's telling her it's time to go. He also tells her to not come back because, again, he don't really fuck with influencers like that. So Kim, it appears that this YouTube channel is not like a hobby of hers. He's actually getting paid to do that. Like this is probably like some new age newsroom, like so instead of back in the day where writers and reporters and journalists worked at like newspapers and stuff, they have to turn in their stories. That's kind of it's that basically what seems like is going on here at Kim's workplace because now she's at work and she's looking up the same story that the guy just told her. And while she's doing this, her coworker, I'm assuming, comes up and kind of tries to antagonize her a little bit just because her last video didn't do as well as hers, the girl who came up to press Kim. So after her coworker pressed her, Kim, she's feeling a little motivated to step her game up and basically get more views. And so she heads back to the train station to figure out how to get another story out of this dude. But this time, the dude who's working at this place, who's telling her all these stories, let her know that, I checked out the YouTube page, a little YouTube page or whatever. And Kim, she was kind of being a little bit protective. And she was saying how, like, the reason why her views dropped wasn't necessarily because of her content, but because beauty influencers are more popular at this time, and crime related content is not as popular as the beauty influencers. And rewind, the girl at her job who came to press her, she was a beauty influencer, I believe. Now we're here back at the train station, and Kim is also informing him that regardless if beauty influencing is popular right now or not, she's committed to making this gory type content popular again, and she's committed to her artistry. So that's why she's back here to get more content from this dude. Kim, of course, didn't forget the liquor, so the guy is on board to tell her another story. Now, this one was about a girl who is on the train, and while she's on the train, it's this girl who's like all bandaged up, her face mainly just like completely wrapped like a mummy, and she is just gawking at Kim or at the girl, and of course, it's making the girl uncomfortable because like, why are you staring at me? So the girl, she gets off the train, and then she noticed that the bandage lady's off on the platform with her now. And now this bandage lady goes up to her and telling her basically how her nose is so pretty over and over again. So it was creepy. And so the girl is trying to get away, and this bandage lady continues to follow her. But then it got to a point that whenever the girl would look at the bandage lady, she would stop moving. But every time she would look away, that bandage lady is coming for her. So she had to keep looking at her to get this lady to stop. Also, this bandage lady is holding some liquid in a cup, which looks like acid. At one point, the girl who was running from the bandage lady, she's an influencer and stuff. So she started recording her, but then she realized like vampires and ghosts, she wasn't recording anything. So now she's like truly freaking out. Like, who wouldn't be freaking out? And is like, what the fuck is going on? Eventually, the girl made it to a bathroom. So she tried to call the police and let them know that it's a lady chasing them with acid. Well, she actually didn't say that. The operator said it was a lady. And that's when she was like, wait, what? And then the operator started laughing because it's the fucking bandage lady who's on the phone. So now it's just some twisted shit going on. And before that conversation ended, that lady was covered in acid because that lady, the bandage lady, got the acid on her. So now we're back with Kim and the dude who just told Kim this story. The train operator don't think Kim believes him, but Kim eventually goes to the train station herself just to kind of record some content because she is an influencer after all. And later on, when she was looking at what she recorded, she started seeing some shit in the background. Like she's seeing like people, ghosts essentially, in the back of her video. But Kim is still on her mission to get some content. So she heads back to the train station to get yet another story from this worker. So for this next story, he shares about a houseless dude who was sleeping at a train station. He was actually in the first story. So if you pay attention to all the stories that this train conductor is telling Kim, you'll realize that all these stories are intertwined somehow, some way. But this dude who was sleeping at a train, he ended up finding a red coin. And he found this coin because, he's looking for change and stuff at this train station. And while he's doing this asshole comes around the corner and literally robs him of the change that he just found. But he threw him the red coin back because, it's not, I guess, real currency. He can't do much with it. So this dude just robbed him. Now this homeless dude is here with this red coin. So the dude obviously upset. Like, who, you're already houseless and now you're dealing with motherfuckers who's coming to rob you literally for your last coin. So he's like yelling and just expressing his frustration until the vending machine gets his attention, and it like shifts. So it's not like a traditional vending machine. This one is a lot more red. It's only offering these cans that looks like a beverage, but it's all just red cans. Everything about this vending machine is red. So now it got the dude attention. And of course, the guy puts the red coin into the red vending machine and he was awarded a red can. So he thought it was an actual beverage, but once he opened it, he tried to drink it and there was nothing in there. But he noticed that across on the other side of the platform this dude literally just kind of broke down and disappeared. So he's kind of, putting one and two or two and two together and was like trying to see if there was any correlation between this red can and what just happened to this dude. So he went to go see, to check on the dude, and he realized that it was just his clothes there. He also found, I think it was like two more, but there were more red coins there as well. So now that is the confirmation that this definitely has something to do with this red can he just got from this vending machine. He is houseless, so he did what he needed to do to survive and not stake money from this suit. I guess technically he isn't robbing anyone because no one's there, but he took money and whatever he needed from the clothing of this dude, and he was a happy guy after that. He actually ended up putting the clothes on, so now he don't appear to be homeless anymore. And then he went back to the vending machine because now he got more red coins. But this time, while at the vending machine, he noticed that it looked completely different. Now it looked like a traditional vending machine with just regular snacks and stuff. It wasn't all red and sue out. So seeing that, the red coins won't be of use, he was about to leave, but then he heard a noise and turned around and seen that the vending machine somehow transformed into the red one again. So he got excited, put the coins in, and got another can. Now, this time, it was low-key his lucky day because after he got the can out of the vending machine, guess who shows up? The dude who just robbed him. So now he couldn't wait to open this fucking can. So now the dude came over who robbed him earlier. So the homeless dude opens the can, and now he see firsthand what happens after he opens it. And so he see this guy literally just disappear. So after this, he kind of created some like a routine. So he would collect the coins, and every time he went to that vending machine, the price went up. So the first time it was just one coin, the second time it was like two or three coins. Each time he gets a can, it's more coins. And he's low-key turning this into a job. So like every night he would get the can, make people disappear, and they actually not just disappearing, they're actually like ending up in the vending machine. Like we see them in the background eventually. So again, he's treating this like a job. So he's there like a routine every night, getting the cans, making people go inside or appear to disappear, taking their money. Next day, same thing, until this one particular time where he was on the opposite end of the vending machine, probably taking some clothes or something, and he sees someone else at the vending machine. And so this person goes to the vending machine, the red vending machine, put the coin in and gets the coin. So he's freaking out because he's the only other person there. And then we realize that that's him. It's like a vicious cycle that's going around. So the first time he used it and he opened it and you just seen someone just kind of break down or whatever, that was him. So it was like a vicious cycle. So the homeless person that came to the vending machine to open it, like, y'all get what I'm saying? Like this shit was really cool. Like I like this, but that was the end of that story. So now we're back with Kim and the worker said that like, ever since that happened, they find random empty clothes just around the station. So that kind of confirms that that story is true, I guess. But I guess the story wasn't that entertaining for Kim because she ended up falling asleep on the worker. So he just let her rest. Shout out to him for that. Kim and his worker, like, they're kind of, I guess, becoming a little bit closer. So Kim is comfortable enough to vent to him about like work or whatever. And she's venting to him about the girl who was low key like pressing her about the views and taunting her or whatever. And she basically shared that she's a bit jealous of her in terms of what she had and what Kim felt that she lacked. Now, here is a lesson.
Message.
The worker that's been telling her the stories warned her that trying to obtain what you feel you lack could lead to you literally losing everything that you actually have. But Kim wasn't trying to hear that shit. He also suggested that she should stop going to the train station because that's literally her motivating goal is to beat the beauty influencer. So she's going there, getting all these stories, putting herself at risk at this haunted train station just in hopes to top her coworker and potentially get the dude because there's like a guy involved there, of course. So he suggests like, maybe you should stop coming. But Kim wasn't trying to hear none of that. Like she got business to take care of. All right. So now Kim is back at work and she's actually being celebrated because all this hard work that she's been putting in at this train station, getting these stories is paying off. They were celebrating her reaching 1 million views on one of her videos. So everyone's excited. And even like some of the comments on her videos are people confirming that those stories are true as well. So I think that is what kind of fueled a lot of those views because people believe that they are true. One of the people who wrote that the stories are true asked to meet up with Kim because it's that true, and she feels that Kim is putting herself in danger by sharing these stories with the world. So they met at like a little diner, and again, the girl who wrote the comment was telling Kim like, you should delete these videos. She also shared that the reason why all this weird shit happens at this train station is because this specific train station was built on like this religious cult. So where this cult used to house their people and stuff, I guess, it was torn down and then they built the train station over it. So there's like spiritual juju left there. The girl who wrote that, these stories are true, who's here with Kim at this diner, she was wearing shades the entire time. So she sees that, like, Kim is not heeding these warnings. So she takes off her glasses to show Kim that she's actually missing a fucking eye. And she's like, please don't go back to the train station. Please delete these videos. because some shit's gonna happen to you next. And then she see like a weird figure behind Kim, which freaked her out. So she, of course, ran out. But Kim, she's really good at doing her homework. I give her that. And so she looks up this cult that the girl was talking about and learned that there was like a mass suicide that took place on the grounds of this train station about 50 years prior. Kim is definitely considering deleting the video, but she got goals and she got to shit on the beauty influencer. So and since the video was doing well, she ended up just keeping it and leaving it up. So in the next scene, Kim is at work, and I think she's like working late, and she eventually leaves to go home, and on her way out she see the beauty influencer and the dude she's been crushing on, making out or whatever. And then I think it was the next day or so, but that same dude came up to Kim asking her out on the date, just lying to her. Like I think she was trying to like, say little slick questions to get him to kind of answer or whatever, but he ended up lying, which confirmed everything that she needed to do moving forward. And thankfully, my girl got some backbone and a little bit of self-esteem because she ended up turning him down. But I guess this is just motivating Kim to go harder. Instead of worried about the dude, she gonna pour all her attention into her work. So she goes back to the train station and hopes to get another story from this dude. He's telling her that his health is getting worse and he don't think he should do it. But she's like, just one more story. So she don't even mind putting other people at risk as long as she get this fucking story. But the guy gives her another story. And this time the story is actually about the beauty influencer who she is jealous of. So this girl, of course, she's on the train and she's vlogging while on the train. And there was a little jolt that happened. So she grabbed the bar. And when she grabbed it, it was like this slimy, nasty ass substance that was on this bar. Of course, she wipes her hands off. And then eventually she realizes that her nose is actually bleeding. And then she looks at the palm of her hand and it's like a whole bunch of just like little circles. Like her hand looks very abnormal. And of course, she goes to the doctor to see what is going on with her palm and just her in general. And the doctor said, they'll just look at over it for like the next couple weeks and just keep an eye out on it because I'm pretty sure he don't know what's going on. And the next thing she actually runs into Kim and her nose literally just starts leaking, not just and not just bleeding, drip, drip, like leaking like a fucking faucet. So of course she runs away to get herself clean. And while she's getting herself together, she's noticing that there's like leaves, there's something growing out of the palm of her hands. It's like each hole in her hand was like a seed for something. But of course, she wakes up and she looks at her palms and now it was just like the initial little circles and stuff. It wasn't all as bad as it was in her dream or whatever. And now fast forward, we're at the point where Kim is getting her celebration from her coworkers since she made it to a million views on her thing. So we see that the beauty influencer was actually in the back hating this whole time. So it's so interesting that Kim was jealous of this girl while the beauty influencer is low-key jealous of Kim. Like just going after what you feel you can't have. So now this beauty influencer is back on a train. Her nose begins to bleed again. The circles get larger again. But this time, instead of it just being on her palms, it's actually spreading and covering her entire body. So this girl, she runs to the bathroom. And by the time she gets there, there's plants and flowers growing out her entire body. So she ends up passing on the toilet as a plant. So Kim, she was like, okay, cool story. But what do you know about the cult that this train station was built on? So now there's kind of like a shift in this dude who's telling the story because now he's like, you know what? Now he seems more willing to help and stuff rather than kind of pushing her away. So now he's like, yo, you want me to take you to the cult leader? I can take you to go meet him. And of course, Kim was down. So I'm assuming, there was some sort of plan or Kim was instructed on what to do in order to meet this cult leader. So now she's on this ghost platform by herself. So while Kim is on a platform waiting for a train, she hears a noise, which sounded like a cat, and she ends up following this noise. I feel like this could be a lesson potentially, and that's never go towards that sound. If anything, go in the opposite direction because it's always some bullshit at the end of that sound. But Kim, she's about to go learn and see what the fuck that sound was. So it was dark while all this was happening. So when Kim went to go inquire about that sound, the lights turn on this platform, and it's a dude sitting there with the cat. So that's what it was. Still weird. Still don't go towards the sound. Eventually, the train arrives, and Kim gets on. And when she sits down, she looks up, and the dude who was just on the platform is now sitting across from her. She did not see him get on this train. And then he starts just staring at her. The cats start tripping. But Kim, she gets up immediately and moves away. And so does he. So now the lights go out again on the train. And all of a sudden, this dude is like headless and is chasing Kim on this train car. Of course, she's running through from car to car. Eventually, the train stops and Kim jumps out. And now she is just in the middle of like train tracks in the middle of this train tunnel. So Kim, she starts hearing footsteps. Then all of a sudden, another train appears. So in this next scene, we see Kim's coworker, not, the beauty influencer because she got beautified, but the dude she was crushing on, the dude that was trying to play her. And he's speaking with the police because I guess she's missing or something. I'm not really sure how we got here, but he or the police, someone is informing someone that the person that Kim thinks she was speaking to was not real. He doesn't exist. He actually disappeared about 3 years ago. So now we back with Kim on this train, this spooky ghost train, and she sees a walkie-talkie, and of course she grabs it. And the dude that she's been speaking to this whole time, the dude who's been sharing all these stories with her, tells her that he's going to share one more story, and this time he'll share his own. So with his story, he's working there with his coworker, who was the guy with the cat earlier. So they were working at this train station at one time. So the dude, he actually seen something on the camera. So he sent his coworker out to go check it out. And when the coworker went out there, he seen something else on the camera. So he was trying to get in contact with his coworker to like warn him, but then the service went out and he just couldn't communicate with that worker anymore. Now, if you remember the very first scene of this film with the dude who got hit by a train, I believe that that is this coworker, not the one who's been helping the girl by telling stories, but the dude that had the cat. I should have got everybody's name. My bad, y'all. But this dude, he don't leave his friends hanging. So instead of just staying there, he went to go check on him to make sure that the dude that had the cat earlier that may have gotten hit by the train is okay. And when he got there, this spooky train appears. So he climbs inside and it's creepy, lights off, and it looks like maybe like the conductor room or something, but it looked like someone was trying to get out of like a closet or something. Looked like someone needed help and was trying to get out. So of course he goes over to inspect what's going on. So of course he ends up opening this door, ends up inside, locked inside, and now this train is going full speed. But the dude ain't just sitting there. He tries to get the door open, eventually opening the door, and then once he did that, the train stops. He goes out and seeing that there's writing on the walls, no Destiny Child, just writing on all these train walls. Somehow he started hearing his own voice. The train turns into the sun. It's so hot, like his shoes are melting. There's people or something banging on the train doors outside of the train. Like it's some crazy shit going on. He ends up pulling the emergency brakes and then everything kind of went back to normal. So it's not steaming hot, there's no one banging. The writing's gone. It's just a dark train again. So he ends up hearing his coworker, the coworker he was trying to warn earlier, saying that he can see him. The coworker saying he can see him on the train. But then, like the dude looks out the train and he sees like someone there, and he had the coworkers, the person he's talking to on a walkie-talkie, head. He had his head, only his head. After he's seen that, the train begins again. The writing's back on the wall, and that's the end of the story because he's been there ever since. He's been missing, but he's been there in spirit. And now we're back with him speaking with Kim, and he tells Kim like, yes, this station used to be a chapel, and now Kim, she's locked on the train, and she sees the worker that she was speaking to on the walkie-talkie, the one who's been helping her this entire time on the platform, and he's speaking to her through this walkie, and he's like, he enjoyed their time together, and he also like said he's going to miss her. And then he transformed into her on the platform while she was on the train. So it was like some vicious little cycle going on Ghost Train. So in this next and final scene, her coworker, so the dude who was fucking with the beauty influencer who was trying to play Kim, is at this spooky train station. And guess who appears? It's Kim. But you and I know that it's not Kim. And the coworker, he kind of feeling like something is off, and he's showing it with how he's looking at her. But that's where this film ends, and we can assume that she got him. So let's go ahead and jump into the lessons. Now, I feel like the dude who was telling the story definitely did give Kim some good advice in terms of like not going after what you feel you lack because you'll end up abandoning yourself. Is essentially what he said. I second that. And I also want to take it a step further and try to get a lesson for just today's society with so many people are aiming to be influencers by any means. So we put ourselves and other people in harm's way in hopes to get those million views, in hopes to just be seen. Most of the time it's not even about money, like people just want to be seen. Like they just want to have millions and millions of views by any means. So with that being, for this particular movie, Kim was warned umpteenth times. Like warning came from the dude who eventually, I guess, haunted her. Warnings came from her own experiences, but she decided to ignore those in hopes again to beat the beauty influencer. And even that beauty influencer came to the same demise because she was too busy trying to outdo Kim. Not to mention, these are two completely different categories. Like, Homegirl is doing gory and spooky content while this other girl's a beauty influencer. They don't even have the same fans. So why the fuck are they even in competition? So I guess the lessons there would be to just focus on your own shit. And I'm pretty sure if she wasn't so moved by trying to shit on the beauty influencer, she probably would have heed all those warnings that the dude who was sharing the stories with her gave, because why wouldn't she? Like, I'm assuming, this is me also assuming, that she has plenty of experience with dealing with spooky and paranormal stuff. So I feel like, if she's being warned about something, she would typically do that, or at least any sane person would. I feel like, just again, most of the younger generation, but there's a lot of millennials and the people who came before me as well in the same boat, in a sense where we see where society is going. People are losing jobs. There's more homeless people now more than ever. And with that being said, there's not a lot of money or jobs, I'll say, that are out here. So a lot of people want to go that route of being an influencer or just somehow making money online, because that seems a little bit more consistent. Although it's not a lifetime guarantee, it's something that's going to get you money now if you become viral or whatever. But I understand that people are going that route because that seems like to be the only logical way, because you could work at any of these jobs and then get replaced with AI, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. So I'm not knocking wanting to become an influencer. Like, if you desire to become an influencer, do you. I just would want to, I guess, advocate for being intentional with it. So don't just do what you feel is popular, or don't just do it just to shit on somebody else, because again, you're going to end up losing yourself in the process. We've seen it plenty of times. Like, we are literally witnessing all this shit in real time. We'll see someone get popular, get on, become labeled as an influencer, and then they try to hold on to that attention for as long as possible, where they get to a point where they're being performative. They don't even believe half the shit they are even saying, and they will literally tell you anything they need to in order to keep those views on you. And when I say by any means, I mean that. So if that means going out and doing something just completely despicable, as long as they got you talking and got you watching the video, they are going to keep doing that. And that's where I feel like we go wrong. And if you are, say, in a space where Kim is, where she kind of just, put herself at a risk in order to get a story, you kind of have to, again, sit with yourself and unpack as to why do you feel like that is such a need. Had Kim done that, she would have realized, like, she's doing this hard and putting herself at risk simply because of this beauty influencer. Again, not even in the same fucking category. Mind you, the girl, she turned into a flower, so she's out of here. Had Kim been present and not so caught up in trying to shit on her, she would realize that the girl ain't even here no more. But this was a cool film. This was pretty cool. I like a nice little thriller. I think this was a nice lesson, and just have us all think, because we're in a time where no matter what you do, if you put something out, people are going to see you as a content creator. So I guess I am saying all this just to also motivate you to just be a little bit more intentional with the stuff that you put out, whether it's a tweet, a video, a photo. Just be a little bit more intentional, and it could just be simple as you just wanting to have fun or whatever. But just think before you post it. Like, are you trying to have people engage by being obnoxious and offending and hurting people, or are you just simply putting out things that you love and people are reacting to it? I think if you made it this far, you should go ahead and subscribe to this podcast, because that means you fuck with me. Be sure to like it, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. Next week, we're going to do a comedy, and we're going to watch Tijuana Jackson. Of course, it's available for free on Tubi. It has Regina Hall in it, and I'm excited because I love anything that Regina Hall is in. But I'm a for real shut up this time, and I'll see y'all next week.